So my best ever result was February 2009 World Championships, where I got a silver medal. And so that was a year before the Winter Olympic Games in Vancouver in 2010. And so it set me up for Olympic season really well. So after the World Champs in February, I trained well through the off season and started the season well. The week before the first World Cup, which is an Olympic qualifier, I'd set a personal best on the start track, so I knew I was in probably the best shape of my life in Olympic year, thinking, okay, things are moving forward well. And then a couple of days after that, I was doing some jumping, some plyometrics, and felt a big pop in my knee and hobbled home. So in the moment when the injury happened or happens, I think it's quite difficult to have a really godly outlook on it because of the emotion and because of all that work that you've done and effort you've put in to get into a particular position or fitness is then out the window, and the goal that you've set yourself or has been set or whatever looks like going out the window. So that at the time when it happens is very difficult, and I think it's important to always kind of re-engage the mind to remember who I am, and I'm a child of God, I'm made in God's image, and my identity, my security is in Him. And it can be hard to remind yourself of those things, but I think having some good friends that encouraged and that read the Bible with me and read about the Lord's encouragement and His faithfulness and my salvation, most importantly. So I went home and did lots of rehab for a couple of months, and then started back in a lower level race after Christmas, and gradually increased and raced well enough and got into reasonable shape to qualify. In terms of there were two of us that the position was between two of us. Anyway, they decided to send me to the games, so I thought, great, qualified, not in the best shape I could have been, but I've made it good, although it was frustrating that I hadn't had a good run in, but I'd made the qualification for the games and anything could happen. When I was at the holding camp, the knee flared up again, so the injections that I had wore off. Although I'd done quite a lot of rehab, it was in a much better place. It still wasn't great. And then by the time I got to race day, my warm-up was walking up the hill. I couldn't jog. Jogging was painful. So pushing the sled wasn't so bad because I was bent over, but it still hurt, but I couldn't jog. So I was warming up and down by walking up and down the hill. Hardly ideal preparation. Friends and church, and when I went home, reminded me, and obviously reading the Bible reminded me that the Lord is my Lord and my Master, and therefore I'm there to serve and live for Him and play and compete for Him and not for me. And I've always found that a difficult tension, because it's so easy to get pulled away from that mindset, and when you do, these relationship issues come out and everything else. So it wasn't easy, but I think the big picture as well at the end of the day was I had a bad Olympic Games. I didn't perform well. My result was poor, but it didn't really matter. It didn't matter at all, because my identity was not in my performance. I'm not Adam, the guy that went to the Olympics and finished in X place. I'm Adam, the Christian that Jesus has saved through His death on a cross.